I figured.
You're listening to the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show with your hosts, the Fantasy Insider, Matt Brick, the Commish, Henry Brick, and the Doctor, Jeff Hathcock.
Now we're all muted. Okay. Good evening. We're listening to the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm Matt Brick. I'm joined by my co-host, Henry the Commish, Rick, and the Doctor, Jeff Hathcock. We also have one of the fantasy contributors of the year, Andrew Marcosi. Welcome to the show. How are we doing this evening, gentlemen?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Man, how about we're at week 5 already, right? Week 5. It's insane. It's going so fast, man. But I'm loving that we got football on a lot. Of course, Monday night was a little bit of a drag, but I'm glad we have a lot of football.
Yeah, I mean, excited. Week 5, we're already a quarter way through the season. Little down about all the injuries that are popping up, but definitely still excited to talk football.
Yeah, it's been going by quick, so let's just get right through the news and we'll go from there. All right. Braylon Allen, running back for the Jets, he sprained his MCL and is expected to be put on IR, so keep an eye on that. Tyreek Hill, just disgusting last night, unfortunately, if you saw it, but he is out for the season after dislocating his knee and tore multiple ligaments, so hope the best for him. It's a shame, but yeah, tough, brutal injury for him. There were 18 penalties in the Broncos-Bengals game last night and 19 in the Jets-Dolphins. Pretty bad. So if you watched it, it was not great. Sunday Night Football ended in a tie, 40-40, Green Bay and Dallas. So that was kind of anticlimactic, if you could say that in the best way possible. Bad Bunny is going to be the Super Bowl halftime show, if you're interested in that. So there you go. Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh had a few words to exchange after the game. I thought that was very interesting to watch.
Oh, yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens were absolutely decimated after last game. Lamar Jackson, hamstring. Their left tackle, Ronnie Staley, with an ankle. Roquan Smith, hamstring. Marlon Humphrey, calf, and Nate Wiggins with the chest. And they're 1-3. Good luck to the Ravens for the rest of the year. Yikes. Cedric Tillman, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, did not return with a hamstring injury. Miles Sanders did not return to the game on Sunday Night Football with an ankle injury. Joe Alt, the Chargers left tackle, did not return with a high ankle sprain. He will probably be out in some time. And obviously one of the bigger ones, Malik Neighbors, wide receiver for the New York Giants, tore his ACL on Sunday because of that awful, god-awful turf in MetLife Stadium. They got to fix that. Ricky Pearsall left the game with a knee injury, and that's where. What's that? Oh, sorry. Yeah, with the news. I mean, that's basically it. But I just wanted to throw out the bye weeks because we're now at bye weeks now. The Bears, Falcons, Packers, Steelers. They are on bye weeks this week, so you keep that in your mind when you're starting your lineup. So yeah, that's the news. Anything I missed? Any comments on anything I said there?
No, I think it was a great football Sunday. It's always weird getting used to a 9:30 game. It pretty much ruins any productivity I was going to have that day. But yeah, other than that, it was great. And then Sunday Night Football, or Monday night with the Jets just fumbling the bag at the end zone. Like, if you don't like that, you don't like Jets football. Like, I watched that happen, and I was like, that's so Jets. Love this,
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do it. Let's get right into our stardom and sit-em. Commish, why don't you go first?
All right, fellas. I'm going to go with I know Jeff's going to be pretty happy about this. I got a couple of New York football giants. One is Jackson Dart. He goes up against the Saints. They rank 28th against the pass. He certainly inserted some life into this offense. I see a lot of continued success this week. I also got Mr. Kane Scanaboo. Okay, we loved him in the preseason. We loved him in Dynasty. We loved him in our regular draft. So, guess what? The Saints 27th against the run. Okay, at least they're consistently bad. The Saints, right? He put up 90 scrimmage yards last week, and that was a lot much better of the defense. So he should find some huge success keeping the heat off Dart this week. And finally, at wide receiver, Xavier Worthy. He led the team last week with just 5 catches, but 83 yards. And he faces the Jags, who have given up 7 touchdowns this year. So Worthy back in that offense, it's a whole different thing. And I think he's a guy you want to definitely get in your starting lineup this week. Doctor, who do you have, sir?
So I'm looking at David Montgomery this week. Going up against that Cincinnati defense. Since he's parked right behind Dallas and the Ravens, it's just not so good. They are absolutely terrible. And the Lions right now, they're leading the league in points. 137 points scored so far this year, and the 550 rushing yards are 6th in the NFL. I think this is going to be an incredible David Montgomery game. I know he gave you 1.2 fantasy points last week in what I thought was going to be a great game for him. I played against him in a couple leagues, and I was shocked. But I think Monty's going to have a bounce back week. And then right now, Dalton Kincaid, he's the hot hand for Josh Allen and the Bills. Right now, he's got touchdowns in 3 of his 4 games. When he doesn't score, he kind of gives you it's not that great. But I think this is going to be a great matchup against the Patriots. I think Kincaid's going to have to be active for them to keep up with this offense that Drake May's. Drake May and the Patriots, they're playing good football right now. But I got Kincaid. He's got 3 receiving touchdowns on the year so far. It's the team high, and New England allows the 9th most fantasy points right now to opposing tight ends. So I think he's a top tight end right now. You got to start him, and I don't know why we're all on these New York guys, Henry. I really don't know. It kind of scares me, but I've got Wan'Dale Robinson. Everyone knows Malik Neighbors went down with a torn ACL.
Let's go,
Robinson. Robinson for me right now. I mean, he's a wide receiver 1 on this team until further notice. I mean, if you're really in the pinch, maybe Darius Slayton. If you're really looking to throw up. But Wan'Dale Robinson, especially with the bye weeks, like we said before, we got the Steelers on bye. There's no DK Metcalf. The Falcons, maybe you had Drake London, or if you're on the Bears side, you have Roman Dunze. If you're missing these guys this week, I think Wan'Dale's he's a Hail Mary, but he's gonna get targets. So that's who I'm going with in a couple of my leagues where I have Rome. I'm just putting up a prayer. But that's what I got for my starts of the week. How about you, Matt?
All right, we're back. Week 5. Let's see who we got here. I did this earlier today. All right, so this week I'm going to start Justin Fields. He's a must start. I'm calling him a must start this week against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas has the worst defense against the pass, allowing 309.3 passing yards per game. Thus, they've allowed 128 fantasy points to quarterbacks with an average of 32 points a game. So that's the worst in the league. That's 32nd. Justin Fields. I know he just didn't do too great last night. He did have a good rush there, but I think he's going to have a great game against Dallas there. So you're going to want to start Justin Fields. Next, I have the Colts wide receivers this week. They play the Raiders, who have allowed 95 fantasy points to wide receivers, which is 29th in the league. So start Colts wide receivers. You can also start Raiders receivers as well, because the Colts have also allowed a lot for the receivers. Because the Colts and Raiders play each other. So you're going to want to – you can start like Myers and Thornton and guys like that, because there's going to be some points in that game. Next up, I have Woody Marks. Houston plays Baltimore this week, and Baltimore is the 27th worst rushing defense in the league. Therefore, they've also allowed 101 fantasy points to running backs, which is the absolute worst in the league. 464 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. This gives Marks an excellent matchup. So I'm not. You can start Nick Chubb too if you want, but it looks like last time I checked, Marks has him up on the carries and snap count. So I like Marks in this game. All right, it's up now to our guest Andrew. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, pretty much go off the top. I think you must start Jalen Waddle this week with Tyreek Hill now injured. He's really going to be their go-to function when he goes through his progressions. Nextly is Dallas Goedert, and I'm not just saying this as an Eagles fan. I think the way we've seen this new offensive coordinator scheme has shown a lack of intuition, and Dallas is just a check down guy. And I think this week he's going to be crucial in us winning, especially with a Sean Payton defense. Next, I have to go with the Cardinals defense. You got to start them, pick them up. They're going against the Titans, which is a franchise that would be a great franchise if they didn't have to play football. Nothing's alive there. And I think if you're trying to plug and play with the buys, definitely pick up the Cardinals defense.
That's great stuff.
All right. Excellent analysis. Look at this Cardinals defense.
I love that play. Cardinals D is gonna say.
Yeah,
I love it.
They probably would be better if Titans fans would be better if they didn't have a football. All right, let's get right into the sit-ums of the week. I'll start it off. I don't care. Why not? All right. To sit this week, this was not an easy decision. I'm going to be honest with you, but this is the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. We full send here. I don't like the matchup for Christian McCaffrey this week. He goes up against the divisional rival in the LA Rams, who are the number one rushing defense in fantasy football, allowing 28 fantasy points to running backs. Last week, they held Jonathan Taylor to just 76 rushing yards, 5 catches for 20 yards. This isn't terrible, but these aren't the numbers you're looking for when you're starting Christian McCaffrey. So keep an eye. Obviously, it's not easy to just bench McCaffrey. It's not. You drafted him to start him, but I'm not a big fan of this matchup. Don't be upset when he gives you like 15 points. Next up, I have Jerry Jeudy, who goes up against the Vikings defense this week in London. Got to wake up early again this week. That's really exciting. The Vikings have allowed 47 fantasy points to wide receivers, which is the best in the league. With Cedric Tillman out, I can see Jerry Jeudy struggle against this Viking defense. And now I'm hearing that Dylan Gabriel might be getting the start for that game instead of Joe Flacco. So I'm not really too pumped on starting Jeudy, nor let alone other receivers for this game. Lastly, I have Matthew Stafford this week. Again, like I said earlier, he plays the 49ers. They've allowed 60 fantasy points, which is tied for 4th best in the league to quarterbacks. So there's that. San Fran also has the fifth best passing defense in the league, allowing 172.5 passing yards per game. So yeah, those are my sits this week. Jeff, who do you have to sit?
Hold your nose because right now TJ Hawkinson, he stinks. I'm completely off TJ Hawkinson. I know we talked about him a little bit earlier this year, but right now
I dropped him last week. Terrible.
1.5, 1.2, 10.9, and 3.9. That's the scores right now. I mean, I know we had JJ McCarthy, that experiment in there, but Wentz is he's not much better. It's just absolutely gross. And they're going to be facing the Browns defense right now that allows 9.8 fantasy points to opposing tight ends. You got to get out of TJ Hawkinson. Hopefully they left him in London. I'm completely off him. He's off my radar. I don't want anything to do with him. And unfortunately, Lamar's got the hamstring injury. He's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. So you got Cooper Rush back there, and Matt riddled off so many injuries for this Ravens team right now. I'm not high on Zay Flowers this week. Cooper Rush is no Lamar Jackson. Even if Lamar's at 70%, Cooper Rush is no Lamar Jackson. So I'm not very confident with Zay Flowers. And then going back to the Vikings, I got Jordan Mason. Going up against the Browns defense. I know the Browns are 1-3. They're tied with the Ravens right now in the AFC North, but they have one of the top defenses. Myles Garrett and company. They're going to bring that incredible D line, and right now, Cleveland's they're allowing just 70.3 rushing yards per game. I don't think Mason's going to have a very good game on the ground. They're banged up on the offensive line as well, and if you cannot win in the trenches against this Cleveland defense, it's going to be a very long day. So I would try to temper expectations if you're starting Jordan Mason, and if you're like me and you're fortunate, I have him in one league. I have a decision between him and Scatabo. It's Cam all the way for me. I definitely am sitting Mason this week. How you feeling, Henry?
Doctor, as always, excellent inside information. Excellent job. I got Jake Browning goes up against the Lions. He's terrible, okay? Balloon balls, all right? Jamar Chase is on the sideline yelling at the coach because of how terrible he is. Make sure you bench him. Forget about it, okay? ETN, he goes up against the Chiefs. They've been pretty stout against the run this year. I think the Jags are going to be behind in this game. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot, and that's going to take – I know he does catch a couple balls out of the backfield, but, man, Chiefs shut down Saquon pretty good. So I don't like ETN in this game. He's a big sit for me. And finally, Jameson Williams versus the Bengals. So much hype about this guy in the camp and preseason. And I just think it was another misdirection by the coaches to get double coverage off St. Brown, okay? J-Mo's a big boom or bust guy, and this week he's a big sit for me. So I yield to the guest of honor. Andrew, who do you have, sir?
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Henry. Yeah, so sitting this week, I got to go start with McCroskey Merritt. I really like him as a rookie and what he's done so far. But going against the Chargers defense, I really don't trust it this week, especially with their backup quarterback still. I feel like they're going to go down early and just resort to throwing the ball and not running it as much. So that's my first sit of this week. Then I would go with Njoku for a lot of the reasons we've already said with the Browns, switching quarterbacks, and then going to him. He's just not a reliable tight end 1 or 2, in my opinion. Still keep him around, but definitely sit him this week. And then going back to what we heard about going into this season, the Broncos are going to be good. I was a believer. I know a lot of my friends have futures on the Broncos, but this week, sit him. I'm an Eagles fan first and foremost, and I think he's going to get his bell rung, and it's not going to be an easy week for him.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on to the show. We'll have you anytime you want to come back. I hope you enjoy this week 5, and keep enjoying it as long as we have this year, and hopefully no one else gets hurt for you. So enjoy it, man.
Yep, absolutely. Talk to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
take care, Andrew.
All right. Let's move on to the famous Dude, I'm Sorry segment. But before that, you are listening to us on Cruise 92.1 WVLT Vineland, and you're listening to us live here on YouTube. All right, I'll kick off this Dude, I'm Sorry segment because I need to get it off my chest before anything. Last week, I quadrupled down on the Chargers. Absolutely quadrupled. I bet on them twice. Real money. Lost. I told you to start Herbert, who had 203 yards and a touchdown. I picked him in the Survivor. And I told you to pick so really, it's 5. Well, no, I remember. I think I only bet on the once. But I told you to pick up the Chargers defense for that. And for Jeff, I'm sorry. However, I did tell you to bench Brian Thomas Jr., who only had 5 catches for 49 yards. And for that, you're welcome. All right. Henry, who do you got?
All right. Last week, I really liked Alvin Kamara against the Bills. He ends up rushing for 70 yards, and he had 2 receiving yards. For that, dude, I'm sorry. However, I did give you Jordan Love last week. I told you to start him. He put up 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he added 28 rushing yards. On top of that, I told you to bench Jared Goff, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. I told you to bench Jameson Williams, 2 catches for 40. I told you to bench Ramondre Stevens, 9 rushes for 38 yards. And finally, I told everyone, pick up Romeo Doubs. And what does he do? 3 touchdowns, okay? For that, I feel like I redeemed myself a little bit, okay? Little redemption there. Doctor, how about you, sir?
Yeah, so I mean, last week I talked about Stephon Diggs. I was not very high on him, but I mean, he showed up. He had 6 catches. This is his first 100-yard game of the season. Vrabel got him finally involved in the slot more. Pop Douglas kind of took a hit in regards to his production, but if Stephon Diggs is going to be in the slot more, and he's going to be getting this kind of the yardage, especially with this game against the Bills coming up, I like him. I mean, last week he wasn't even a flex option for me. You got these bye weeks coming up now. If you've got Diggs, he might be even on the waiver wire, depending on what type of league you're in. I would just take a look, see if he's there. On that flip side, I did have let's see here. Last week I had for DFS. For me, kind of a down week, but I love seeing Robo Dunze still do his thing. I think he's great. I think he's the number 1 wide receiver over there. And after the bye week, I'm just expecting more from him. Right now, it's it's an uphill battle. They got a tough schedule coming up, but I really like the way he's looking. But just to go back really quick on that sit-em for Henry, for Jameson Williams, I don't know if you watched all that game, but Goff missed him on a lot of plays. Overthrew him, underthrew him. I think JMO week.
That's why I said sit him. I saw it happen. I saw it coming. I felt it. Had the vibe.
I just feel like JMO is it's coming. That monster game is coming. And that's why I'm putting my stamp on it right now. He's going to have a 30-point game against the Cincinnati defense. He's going to have 3 catches, probably.
All right, I'll start him now, Josh. Thank you.
He's in my DFS lineup. I feel it. I just feel it coming. But yeah, so that's what I got for my segment. Sorry, I had to take over the JMO. I'm so high on him this week.
I understand. I'm a JMO. I'm a JMO owner.
Listen, like I said, he's boom or bust. For you, I hope he's a boom. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, I hope he's a boom. I've had him in the Extreme Fantasy Football League. To the viewers out there, that is our main league. At least it's my main league. So
it's our main league.
That's our main league, that's for sure. All right, let's get into the DFS lineups of the week. I'll go right ahead because, dare I say, I'm on a little bit of a hot streak with the DFS. A little bit of a hot streak.
Man, you took it last night with last play of the game. The Jets throw to Garrett Wilson, and that 1 point beats me like 176 to 175 in DFS last week. Crazy. You crushed it. Great job, man. You crushed it.
And I knew I needed that 1 catch.
Yes.
I knew it. I was on it the whole time. I was looking at it the whole night, and I'm like, man, I needed like 20 points just to win. And that 32-yard catch with a lateral got it for me. So I was, but keep in mind, I also needed the Broncos to not let up any points. Like they do that, I could possibly lose. So I'm thankful.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm happy the Broncos just crushed. I think that was obviously that was the right move for me there. But hey, I got lucky. That's the best way to explain it. But I'll start off with my lineup. I'm gonna be honest. This every time I do this show, every time I do the segment, this lineup is a very rough draft for me. I never. I do actually submit this lineup, but I do it in a free league, and I do actually do sometimes pretty good. I get up there, but I try to set my lineups each Thursday because that's when certain numbers come out that I like to see, and that's when I make my decisions. But here we go. This week I got Justin Fields, who I talked about earlier, 5,600 against Dallas. That's a start. My running backs, I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 7,700 against Cincinnati. Yeah, I love that. That's a great matchup. I think that's a great matchup for Gibbs. Next, I have Javonte Williams at the Jets at 6,200. Williams, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Williams at this point, I think not only was the fantasy community wrong about Williams, but he's been getting all these he's been getting a lot of checkdowns that have just been that whole carry for 8 to 10 yards, and I think that's what's making his fantasy.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't check this week, but last week I believe it was RB6. I don't know what he is this week, but
RB6.
Yeah, man. Right?
RB6 on the year. He's got, I believe 16 receptions. Listen, he looks good.
He does, man.
Just got to say it, man. Good. I mean, maybe that injury was definitely worse than we thought. I mean, I know he came back early. He looks great. If you're in redraft right now and you've got the Derrick Henry type, or maybe you're out on like something else, or you got injuries. A lot of people. If you're looking to tear down, I would tear down right now for Javonte Williams and get a receiver, something like that. He looks good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that pick, man.
I mean, my only thing on him is that now that Sanders is hurt, I'm assuming Jaden Blue comes in now because Sanders is hurt. Which I'm excited for because I'm a Blue owner and I've stashed him, but we'll see. I think I think it's very true right now that everyone was kind of wrong about him, and it frustrates me even more because I was high on him during the offseason.
You were high on him on the preseason. You were.
And I got talked out of it because everyone was talking about Blue, and I love Blue. I think he'll be great. I don't know about how we'll see what happens after the year, but we'll see what happens. All right. Next, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like the commish said, I think there is a little bit of truth in how it's kind of insane how Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting open. Like the routes he's running, he's beating guys. It's just kind of embarrassing. I'm going with him against Cincinnati, 7,900. I got Quentin Johnston at 5,700 against the Commanders. I think that's just a good matchup there. Quentin Johnston's just been balling, so I'm going off of that. I also have Jacoby Myers at 5,600 against the Colts. Like I was talking about earlier, that's just, I think, a good game for fantasy. A tight end, give me Darren Waller, the Walrus, at 3,500 against the Panthers. Yeah, I mean, listen, he got those 2 touchdowns last night, which I don't think anyone was expecting. I saw someone bet it and won way too much money. But, yeah, I don't think – especially now with Hill being out, I mean, I think especially at 3,500, that's a decent shot. So my flex, Woody Marks, 5,400 at Baltimore, and give me the Houston defense at 2,400 against the Ravens because as Jeff was saying earlier, it doesn't look like Lamar plays for a couple weeks. So give me that Houston defense. All right. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I love Justin Fields. I think that's going to be a great game against Dallas. I'm hopeful he gets active because I also have a stack of Garrett Wilson for 6,100. But I'm going with Devon Achane 7,300. He's my workhorse in this lineup. Uh, there's no Tyreek. For me, I feel like this is it's last year all over again. Darren Waller, I still think he's going to need to ramp up. I mean, he's 33 years old. If he stays healthy, which I don't think he will, but if he stays healthy, maybe we can have another Jonu Smith breakout.
He has to sleep in a hyperbaric chamber all week to play.
But I think Devon Achane is going to be a smash hit. I also got Amari Hampton, 6,500. The Chargers got shocked. I think a big thing about Jackson Dart and how the Giants were able to play this game is there wasn't a whole lot of tape on Jackson Dart. So I think the Chargers they had to travel across the country. They faced a guy who they didn't really have much tape on, and they got shocked a little bit. So I think, especially with the injury to Joe Alt, I think they might lean it a little bit more on the run. Hampton looked great. And then on the flip side here, Quentin Johnson he's 5,700. For me, it's just insane how this guy just keeps producing. Herbert keeps throwing him the ball, and he keeps scoring. So for me, he's a smash until he starts to cool off. For me, he's just a must-start play, 5,700. And I talked about this guy earlier. I think Jameson Williams is going to have a great game against the Cincinnati defense. Right now, 4,900 is what I got him for. I think that's a smash start. I watched the game, even though it was a blowout and the Lions were not threatened whatsoever during this game. Goff missed him on a lot of throws. Amon-Ra had an incredible game because of it and took advantage of Goff getting him the football. But Jameson Williams burned that defense up, and he was missed on so many throws from Goff. He dropped a couple passes too, but I think Jameson Williams is going to have a really big week this week, and he's going to get back on track with Goff. Tight end, I got Jake Ferguson. I mean, listen, if the Jets are putting Justin Fields are putting up points, Dak's got to throw the ball. Dak's going to keep spreading it around, and Jake Ferguson's his guy. Ferguson's the tight end one on the year right now, which blows my mind. But he's getting so much volume, it makes all the sense in the world. And then I'm going back to the well with Trey Benson, 5,700 in the flex. Going up against that really weak Titans team, I can see them trying to just put this away with the run if they get a lead. And then I'm going with the Colts, 3,300. I love that option this week. I think it's a smash start. I think they're going to score a lot of points. Geno's been throwing the ball to the opposite team all year, and I think they take advantage of that. How we feeling, Henry?
Well, I'm going back to Goff. Last week I said to bench him. This week I like him in DFS. He is on the road, which we all know he plays better at home, but he is playing Cincinnati, and they're just absolutely terrible. They're terrible on defense. So Goff at 6,500 is a smash start on DFS. I got James Cook the third, 7,400 at home against New England. The guy's getting it done every week. He's a great start. Breece Hall, okay, he's at home against Dallas. Dallas just let up 40 points. Okay, Breece Hall is an absolute beast. With Braylon Allen down, Breece Hall is getting the ball. Finally, should be getting the ball more and more and more. And you know what? He opens up the lanes for the receivers. He's just a great player, and he's got great burst. He looks awesome, and he's a great play at 5,600. Staying in the same game, I got Georgie Pickens, 6,600. He is the man there. And Dallas and the Jets defense, where are you? Okay, they're terrible. George Pickens, I think, gets it done. I also like Michael Pittman. He's at home against the Raiders. He's 5,100. He seems to be the number one guy there for Indiana Jones. At tight end, I got Jawan Johnson at home against the New York Football Giants. 3,900. Listen, Rattler likes him, likes passing the ball. They haven't had a lot of success doing very much, but Juwan Johnson is successful on that team. So he's a great play tight end. And sticking with the Giants, Darius Slayton, 4,300. Okay. I'm going to talk about him a little bit as we move on with the show. I'll save it for that. But excellent player, 4,300. And we've been talking about it all show here. Texans defense at 2,400 with no Lamar Jackson, I think is a great play on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, let's go to our sleepers / long shots. Jeff, who do you have?
Yeah. So for this week, I mean, listen, he's in DFS lineups. We're talking about him. Woody Marks. It took a couple weeks, but he's finally ramped up to. He had over 56% of the snaps on this past Sunday. His 21 touches were a season high for any Houston back, and there's zero sign of Joe Mixon returning anytime soon. I called it in the beginning of the season. I put the stamp on it. I did not think Joe Mixon was going to play a down this year. There's still zero talk on it. He could be activated, but there's zero talk about it. They're not activating him. Chubb is Chubb. I mean, he's old. He's slowed down. And for me, Woody Marks against this Ravens defense that has not looked good whatsoever. I mean, if he has another showing that he did this past week, I mean that's a smash for me. Like you're talking about sleeper long shot. If you're on the waiver wire, he's a smash for me. You got to be dumping fab, especially if you're hurting for a running back. Because right now, I mean, he's ramped up. He's had week 1 was 27 or 11%, 27%, 48%, and now 56%. I mean, he's a rookie. He's on a team that's they're trying to get back to the playoffs. I love the kid. He's a smash for me, man. I think he's gonna show up, and he does pass catching too. Like he's doing all this work on the ground. He literally came into the league. His specialty was pass catching. Like that's what you want in a running back. You can run the ball and you can catch passes. Great stuff. I love it all around. And then what are we feeling this week, Henry?
Well, how about Malik Washington? They go up against Carolina this week, with all the attention this week's going to be on Waddle, obviously. I think this opens up huge opportunity for Malik Washington. So make sure if you need a receiver, especially we have all the teams on bye this week, he's a great pickup and a great play as a long shot this week. Also, I had to put him on here, guys. I watched this game. Amari DiMercado. Benson had a great opportunity last week, but really did not show me very much. When DiMercado came in, he had all the juice. He did score a touchdown. And this week versus the Titans, I think he gets another one. So that's another great long shot. Matt, what do you got, sir?
I just wanted to throw out there that I talked about Malik Washington as my long shot week 2. Okay, so I think I was a little bit on the nose with that one. Anyway, this week 5, I have now Cedric Tillman got hurt. He has a hamstring injury. We don't know exactly how long, but he will be missing some time. So I have Isaiah Bond, the rookie wide receiver out of Texas. He's the next man up. He had 6 targets. He caught 3 of them for 58 yards, and I expect him to have more production with Cedric Tillman out. All right, let's go into the main event. It's Waiver Wire Tuesday, gentlemen, and we have to, this is, I think, in my opinion, the way I've been playing fantasy football for almost 20 years. I look at the year, after the first 4 games, and I think you got to kind of just look at yourself in the mirror, regardless of where you are. Look at your roster and say, okay, who sucks and who doesn't. And you have to manage your roster. This is the time to manage your roster. I think we're past the panicky, angst at this point. I think we kind of know at this point where guys are projected to go, and this is what we got. So keep that in mind. Obviously don't go and do something silly like, dropping like a big guy, but you have to look at your team, and you have to be tough on yourself, and you have to go, even though you have to cut your darlings, as they say in the film industry. You have to get rid of some guys. So who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about some waiver wire guys?
Yeah, go ahead, Henry.
Sure. All right. We've already talked about him a lot, but Woody Marks, number one on my list. Clearly, he's taken over the starting role in Houston with 57% of the carries and a 17.9% target share. 17 for 69 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches for 50 last week, man. If he's available, go get him because he's a beast. And I think we've definitely got that message out tonight for sure. I mentioned him earlier, Darius Slayton. With Neighbors out, he is the deep threat. With Wan'Dale Robinson, in my view, the dink and dunk guy, the PPR guy, I think Slayton's your deep threat, and he's going to be Dart's biggest friend. I also like Kenny Gainwell. Jalen Warren out. Gainwell, 19 rushes for 99 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches for 35. He does have a little bit of a tougher matchup this week, but moving forward, if depending on how long Warren's out, Gainwell's the guy. And it seems like in all the leagues I'm in, everyone's short on, guess what, running backs. And we talked about this, I know, preseason when we're getting people ready for drafts. So many of these fantasy shows tell everybody, "Oh, draft wide receivers." There's a million wide receivers. What are we short of? Running backs, right? So if you need a running back, Kenny Gainwell might be a good pickup. And here's a surprise one. I just added him very last minute, right before the show. Rachaad White, who is a great handcuff to Bucky Irving, who, guess what? He's waiting on an MRI for an undisclosed injury. He got it against the Eagles on Sunday. Coach Todd Bowles seems very worried about it. So guess what? If you have Bucky and you don't have Rachaad, sorry about your luck. You need to go get him now if he's out there on your waiver wire. Doctor, floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, that's sad news about Bucky. I hope everything checks out and he's okay. But yeah, I mean, before there was Bucky, there was Rachaad White. So definitely love that pickup. For me, Alvin Kamara, he's still the lead back in New Orleans, but Kendre Miller, the usage has increased in recent weeks. He's no longer shunned behind a coach who just doesn't want to use him and is annoyed with him at all times. He's played a season-high 31% of snaps in the loss to the Bills. He turned 11 carries into 65 yards and a score, and the touchdown was one of the highlights of the weekend. He broke multiple tackles doing it and refused to go down, and I think that's going to warrant him more playing time. Especially, the Saints aren't good, but they were in that game pretty much the entire game. You have the chance if Kamara's another year older. If he ever slows down or gets injured, I think you could have a really nice player in Kendre Miller, on your bench. And then if you need him, especially with the bye weeks coming up, he's a nice flex option. And then Henry talked about it before. Romeo Doubs, coming off the career game, he found the end zone 3 times in that 40-40 tie with the Cowboys. He's flashed, and again, there's no Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's not going to be back until way later in the season. Dobbs has the chance to be Green Bay's number 1 receiver for the next stretch. He is on bye this week, week 5. So if you're adding him, you're not getting any production this week. But a lot of people probably aren't thinking about adding him right now because of the bye. So I think you can get him for cheap. He's a touchdown or bust, but getting a wide receiver 3 or a flex. Who you'll need to have, in your lineups with these buys coming up and or these injuries that are happening around the league. I think he's a guy that needs to be rostered in every league for sure. How are you feeling this week, Matt?
All right, first I wanted to discuss the anti-wide receiver initiative that was put in just before the season starts. And I just wanted to throw out there that, yes, there's ground for that, right? That makes sense. But at the same time, I feel like, in my opinion, there's a good amount of wide receivers that I think a good I have DJ Moore. What has he done for me? Jacoby Myers. What has he done for you? These are names that people were drafting fairly high, and they're not doing what what anyone thought they would be doing. So I understand both sides of going running back and being heavy. I think that's why the hero RB was born, and because people are so heavy on that, and they want to try to get as much wide receivers as possible. But I don't think it's a for sure thing. Well, maybe one day we'll end up cracking the code, but it's an ideology that we'll just never figure out. It's very frustrating because we can't tell the future. It's all just a big guess. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on draft ideology there. All right, I'll go with my waiver wire pickups. My this week I have Rashard Smith, a running back, rookie for Kansas City. His workload increased and is expected to increase throughout the season, so I think he's a great pickup. The kid looks like he has juice, so sadly, I think that Pacheco might be done. God knows how long. But it's like night and day between him and even Hunt. And Hunt's been decent, but it looks like Smith has some real juice in him. I was going to talk about Giants wide receivers as well. Those are obvious. Slayton, I don't really love him that much. I feel like all he does is drop the ball. I'm more a Wandale guy myself. I mean, if you do yourself a favor and go look at Wandale's stats from last year, it's unbelievable. You will be shocked. He had so many targets and he caught a great amount. It's kind of wild. I even was like, when I during the offseason, when I looked at his stats, I moved him up because I was like, are you like, that's the number? Like, why aren't we talking about Wandale Robinson more?
But he did that with Neighbors in the lineup.
No, obviously, right.
You know what I mean?
But at the same time, he had Daniel Jones throwing on the ball, who at that time was not good. Was just he's not who Daniel Jones is now. It's a completely different man. But I don't know. I think that regardless, I mean, now he has a great rider. I think Dart's great. I love Dart. So I think that regardless, he will be the number one guy on this team. So yeah, pick him up. And dare I say, as much as I really don't want to say this, Theo Johnson. I think Theo Johnson is a great pickup. Honestly, I really do. I think if anything, he could be a difference maker on that team. All right. Also, I have my defenses. I always like to throw. I'm a streamer, so I like the Colts defense this week. They play the Raiders. Gino just had a really disappointing performance last Sunday. Like Jeff said, he's just not throwing the ball right. I think the Colts bounce back this week too. So go get the Colts defense. And I think this is a bold move, but dare I say, go get the Jags defense against the Chiefs. Why, Matt? What? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? The Jaguars have forced 3+ turnovers in every game this year. What is going on in Jacksonville? So they got a good defensive coordinator, obviously. They're playing great ball. I actually did end up picking them up because I didn't get the Colts in my league this afternoon. So not sure if that'll be the final product by Sunday, but I don't know. I might just pull the trigger because that's a lot of turnovers each game. That's crazy.
Hey, I would add the New York Football Giants to that defense too. They're going up against the Saints. And
Saints are sneaky, man.
That's chock full of fun, man, for the day.
I don't know.
They're going to get to that quarterback. That front seven's
I'd have to look at the spread first. All right, let's go. Let's do buy low, sell high. Commish, why don't you go first?
All right, guys. This is a big name. I'm dropping it. You ready? Buy low on one King Derrick Henry. Okay, after week one. Okay, week one, look, I think he put up like 46, 47 fantasy points. After that, 3 points, 14 points. Last week, 9. He's had fumbles, which have lost the game. You have a fantasy owner that quite possibly is frustrated and maybe willing to move on from him. And guess what? He's still a beast. He's still probably not the RB1 for the year, but he's probably RB 8 or 9, maybe 10. So now's the time to pounce. If you have any shot of getting him, right now is absolutely the time. All right. My sell high candidate, I actually have two, but I'm going to go DK Metcalf. Listen, he put up 5 for 126 and a touchdown last week. Phenomenal. Did it in Ireland. I'm sure he had a nice pint of Guinness after. But here's the thing. He only averages a little over 5 targets a game, right? You got a slowed down Aaron Rodgers. So right now, Metcalf is at an all-time high. I think you sell him while you can and get somebody that will help you win a championship. I don't think Metcalf's the guy. And the one I want to kind of throw on there too is, I was so high on Dobbs last week with the 3 touchdowns. And yes, he's going into a bye. Now is the time to sell him on your bye because you can move him and probably get even a bigger upgraded wide receiver there, and it'll help save you on your bye week. Just throwing that out there.
I love getting rid of DK Metcalf. I actually traded away in our dynasty league that we play in, the 3 of us together. I traded him away for Devontae Adams, and we all know Devontae Adams. He has maybe 1 or 2 years left. DK's probably has more years left. But I just, with the situation when he got traded to Pittsburgh, and this is before Rodgers was even signed, I've just been out on DK Metcalf and Arthur Smith. That offense is it's terrible. I mean, he was lucky and fortunate to have an 80-yard slant, go to the house. But great call on that. For me, my buy low, we talked to him a little bit about it earlier this show. Jameson Williams, a lot of people slated him to have that big 2025. Against Cleveland in Week 4, he caught 2 passes for 40 yards, but he was targeted 8 times. Many of those targets were deep balls and potential walk-in touchdowns, but Goff missed him on more than one shot. He's a big play threat, and the Detroit Lions, they're looking to get him going in the coming weeks. I can tell you. They're a team right now, they're scoring the most points in the league, and they are not a team that's going to stop scoring. If you cannot stop this offense, they are going to keep putting points on you, and that's why, for me, I think they might have to no mercy rule the Bengals this week. It's going to be that bad. They are going to do whatever they want to this Bengals defense. They're going to run the ball. They're going to throw the ball. There might be 5 different guys who have a touchdown on this team. It's going to be that bad of a shellacking. So for me, I'm definitely buying low on Jameson Williams. I think he's a great player. They're talking him up. I think it's coming. I definitely think he's a top 24 wide receiver. Maybe even top 12, depending on, if they get into tougher games and they really need him, that big play ability. I love Williams. And then this hurts me, but I'm selling high on Marvin Harrison Jr. He continues to be a boom-bust fantasy receiver. When he scores a touchdown, all is well. It's a great week. When he doesn't score a touchdown, he kills your week. So for me, when he's not scoring a touchdown, he's finished as the wide receiver 51 and the wide receiver 83 overall in the 2 weeks of the year where he doesn't score. That's volatility. It's a lot. I don't think he's going to be needed this week against this Titans defense. I think they're going to be able to have a lead, and maybe he'll make me eat my words, and he'll have one of those crazy games where he scores 2 touchdowns, all 4 catches. But I just don't think right now he's going to be seeing the type of volume we want him to see. And until further notice, if someone's going to be like, yeah, I'm in on Marvin Harrison after this touchdown, I'm going to try to get what I can for him. That's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but I don't see I don't see Marvin Harrison paying off this year, unfortunately, until they change the either the quarterback or the offensive coordinator. He's a flex start at best for me. How you
Guys,
thinking
we have a. I'm sorry to interrupt. We have a trade alert. Trade alert. I have to run it by you. You're the top two guys I need to talk to about this.
that? Okay.
I was offered Tony Pollard and Marvin Harrison for Woody Marks, who we've been talking up this whole show, and Mike Evans. Thoughts quickly. I know we don't have a lot of time.
You'd be getting Pollard and Marv.
Pollard and Marv. I give up Evans and Marks.
Yeah, pass. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
Right? Marks is a beast, right?
Yeah, you keep Marks and.
I mean, Evans will be back, so I mean, you're not going to have Evans for probably another couple weeks because of the whole hammy thing. But I mean, Tony Pollard, you don't forget Tony Pollard. On the flip side, Tyjae Spears is coming back soon too.
Right.
So you got to think of Tyjae Spears. He's going to be coming back. Yeah. To me, I wouldn't do it.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah. Quickly, my buy low. I got Jacoby Myers. It's early. Their offense it's still figuring things out. Myers hasn't been doing exactly what he was expected of, but I'm sure people are willing to trade him. So go try to get Jacoby Myers. My sell high, I didn't want to do it, but I got Stephon Diggs. He finally just had a great game. So go and trade him for as much as possible now, and hopefully that'll work out for you. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Thank you so much.
I want to thank Andrew for joining the show. You can reach him at see him at the Jetro Park a lot at the Birds game on Sundays.
That's right. All right, and remember, if you aren't playing fantasy football, you're probably trying to order an edible arrangement. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at KAF Football.